So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Nezemwa Nezepeperempe and this is Nezepeperempe. Welcome back to the channel guys. These days I really do enjoy our chit chat videos because there have been so many vlogs in recent times, so any opportunity to just sit down and chit chat with you guys and catch up on gist you guys. I know you guys like my gist. I always relish that moment. So today's video is a true life story and I'm going to be talking about my experience flying Lufthansa. Yes, so if you didn't know, if you're just with me, why am I feeling so famous? As someone that just see me for the first time, right? Okay, so if you just see me for the first time, hello, my name is Chineze and I am a YouTuber, a barrister, and a mom of 4. We are new immigrants to Canada and I relocated with my whole family, husband and children. So when I say do not fly Lufthansa, well, I'm going to give you my own personal experience. Before I delve into the gist proper, I kind of feel like the true test for the efficiency or the customer centricity of a company is in the heat of a crisis. In fact, not just the company, I mean everything in life. Friendship, marriage, everything is like, you know that saying, when the same metal is tested when it's hot? Yeah. If you have a friend and everything is all cool and rosy and the person is all smiley, that might not define that friendship. When that friendship is defined is when there is a crisis, when there is a gossip, or when there is trouble. That's when you now know how that person would handle you and handle the situation. Same thing applies to every other sphere of life. The true test of how a company really is when you have issues, not when everything is all rosy. You go, you board your flight, you get to your destination. That is like business as usual, okay? So let me dive into the story. So you guys know very well, that's for those that have traveled, once you get your PPR, which is your passport request, where IRCC or whatever immigration organization requests for your passports for them to stamp it, you know that when you get that letter, that's PPR letter, you should start booking your flights because your relocation is almost as certain can be. So when we got our PPR, sharply we swung in to book our flights. Now, why Lufthansa? We picked Lufthansa for 2 major reasons. One, Lufthansa flies from Port Harcourt, which is where we used to be based, and secondly, Lufthansa had fewer stops than what we were seeing in its competitors' websites. Now, Ethiopia Airlines are a lot cheaper than Lufthansa. When I say a lot, I mean the difference could run into millions. But we chose to bear the cost in the interest of comfort because we are a big family. We have little children and we didn't mind sparing some bucks just to give us that comfort. So when we went to Ethiopia Airline, we saw from here to here to here to here, and we were like, count us out. So we went to Lufthansa and we saw that it just had 1 stop and we were like, jackpot. So the Lufthansa flight was supposed to go from Port Harcourt to Abuja, but in Abuja it's just for a stopover to pick passengers. You don't have to disembark. You just sit on the plane and the aircraft is filled up by the Abuja passengers. So from there, you go straight to Germany and bam, Calgary, you are home. So for us, that was a very, very big deciding point. We wanted the journey to be as stress-free as possible. So we decided to pay millions and millions of naira booking flights for 6 people. Lufthansa we chose. So we had already started packing. You guys saw the whole process of the packing. It was very tedious. As we were packing, as I was packing, my husband was scaling because we got this, this mobile scale that you can scale your bags and know the measurements of each and every one of them, so you don't have to start saying, okay, I beg at the airports. Everything is just organized. So we were packing, we were scaling, we had all our things packed. Let me just call it this Saturday evening. So just as we were done packing, we're supposed to travel the next day on Sunday. We got an SMS that the flight will no longer be going. We're like, from where to where? Why? So we got the message that the flight has been cancelled, that it will no longer be leaving, that it will be leaving in 2 days' time. So don't forget that this is Saturday evening, right? We're done packing to move on Sunday, and we're told that it's going to move on Monday. So we're like, okay. But another part of the message that got us very worried was when we were told that despite the flight has been moved to Monday, we had to come to the airport on Sunday to check in our things, the usual check-in time that we would have checked in our things if we were flying on Sunday. So we should check in our things on Sunday, go back home, and now come on Monday to fly. Now, this would have not been a big deal for a lot of people, right? But not for me, because I had my cooked food, afang, egusi, moi moi, and the likes that I wanted to bury inside my bag. So I'm like, if I check in this stuff, this cooked food on Saturday, go back home, and now take a flight on Sunday, and now arrive Calgary on Monday night, my food goes sour. My food will sour. It was not going to survive this. It's going to go sour. I was so perturbed and disturbed. But fortunately, should I say fortunately or fortunately, I got a call from a certain Martins. I will not forget that name. He claims to be the manager of LUFTHANSA at the Port Harcourt International Airport, and he apologized for the flight delay and told me that we do not have to come to check in our luggage again the next day, that we should just come on Monday. That day we're supposed to travel with our bags. And I'm like, hallelujah, God is working. At least the food will still be in the freezer, and we'll bring it out of the freezer that Monday that we're flying. Worst case scenario, Tuesday night we'll be in Canada. It will still have a little bit of, ice in it. It won't go bad. So I was happy that we didn't have to check in a day before flying and now spend another 1 day on air. So that was good. So that's Monday morning. Woke up early, put the food, wrapped them in bubble wrap, put them in the, what's that called again? Put them in the thermal bags, buried them in our bags, covered them, well packaged, weighed everything accurate. We didn't sleep a night before, trying to ensure that we wake up early. Because of those weighing food, we had to split the food into different bags, so everything will not be to curtail our risk management as a banker. We didn't want all the food to be in one bag in case of incasity. So we got to the airport and everything was looking so good already. My kids were in high spirits. They were all dressed in their hoodies. I was already vlogging. It was happening right before our eyes, and nothing would have prepared me for what happened next. So when we got there, we saw the custom people, did what you had to do, begging here and there. You know how these things are. And just to avoid delay. It's not like you are doing anything wrong, just, have a nice day. Okay, you're leaving me in Nigeria. You're leaving me. Have a nice day. Good luck to you too. You just give tips. So much tips here and there. Things go just they flow. So after we're done with those custom people, once you enter in, and we went to where they scale the bag, I was done with those NACO, what do they call them? The airport authority people, they scaled the bags, they passed all the bags to the place where they're going to wrap them in sellotape. You guys saw that vlog, the vlog where we traveled, that sellotape wrap. If you've not seen it, go and watch the vlog. Don't miss out on any video. So they wrapped the bag very well with sellotape. That sellotaping alone cost us almost 20,000 just to sellotape the bags to ensure that nobody opens it and starts picking things. So we're done with all those phases, only for us to approach the counter, those people that issue out tickets, and they were looking at us like, we could tell from their body language that all was not well. We were waiting. What's any problem? They took our international passports, but the ticket was not coming. Only for them to tell us that there's no flights for them to put us on from Germany to Calgary. And I'm like, répétez, excusez-moi. They were like, there are no flights. So I called the Martins. That's the white guy that called me and told me that everything is good and fine. I can come on Monday and travel. I told him I was going to call him when I get to the airport, and he was like, oh, fantastic, you can. So I called him. I'm like, hello, please, can I see you? I'm at the counter. And he came, and I was like, look at what you guys are telling me. What's going on? He took my passport, went pillar to post to pillar. He was just roaming around like headless chicken. I was like, uncle, uncle, respect yourself. What is going on? My children are with their sweater, ready to enter the plane. What say you? After this guy finished roaming from pillar to post and post to pillar, he came to me. He came to us, my husband and I, because my kids were already seated. They were tired of standing and waiting. I told them to have a seat. He came to my husband and I and said that that plane that we missed yesterday, don't forget our flight was supposed to be Sunday before they shifted it to Monday, we missed our Frankfurt flight on that day, which was the day before, and that today all the planes has already been booked. All the seats from Frankfurt to Calgary has already been booked. I was like, what can we do? He was like, let us see whether we'll put you to another province, from maybe, for example, Saskatchewan to Calgary. I was like, Jesus Christ. He went to the office, did everything he could, came out again and said that there are no available flights, even with 2 stops. We were so shocked. We were so shocked. We're like, what exactly are you saying now? Is it that we can't? What are you saying? I was like, okay, should we travel to Germany? Should we travel, at least be on our way, ahead, forward ever and backward never? Can we just go to Germany? When we get there, you can communicate with them over there to put us on another flight. He was like, he cannot guarantee that. He cannot guarantee us that we could go to Germany and there will still be no flights. We'll just be stranded in Germany for 2, 3, 4 days, sleeping on the floor there, hopeless and homeless. That is not the best advice, because we have children. That he would like to get us a flight off Germany in Nigeria instead of just sending us to Germany and leaving us there without anything certain. At this point, I was so, as though hot water was just poured on you from head to toe. My body was like, Jesus Christ. Guys, so much had gone, so much had taken place. We didn't have any idea that anything was going to keep us past that day in Nigeria. Do you know when you have arranged yourself? You have sold everything, from car to properties. You have dashed out all your clothes, your slippers. Everything has gone. Even the house, we have already arranged for the person that will take over the property in a few days' time. Is it the beds? We have sold everything. My helps were already on their way going. My mother-in-law, my mother were already on their way going. Where do we go to? Where do we start from? We're like, okay, what are you saying? That we should go back home and come back tomorrow, or what? That was when we heard the worst. The guy now said that even tomorrow he can't guarantee us. Even next week, even 2 weeks' time, that we should just go home. That whenever there is a space, they will get back to us. I'm like, in my mind, I was like, are you normal? Like, we don't have any place to go to. We don't have any house. We don't have any bed. We don't have any food. That we should just go indefinitely and just sit down in Nigeria without knowing, without planning nothing in mind, no plan, no date in mind. We should just go. That they will reach out to us if a space comes. I told him that we don't understand the arrangement, that we don't have any house to go to. He was like, he's sorry, there's nothing they can do. The nonchalance. That assuming we had another citizenship, we could have taken off from UK, they would have connected us to US or UK, but now that since we cannot even go to those countries without a transit visa, and we don't have another passport, he now asked us, see how he did it. I said, let me see your passport. Do you have another passport? When he saw it was only Nigerian passport, he was like, oh shit. That was one of the days I told myself, oh my God. That further gingered me and said, my children would have another passport. The kind of pain and sadness I witnessed that day, I told myself that my children must have another passport. If I had another passport, I would have not faced what I faced that day, or we would have not faced what we faced that day, because all they would have done was just to connect us to UK or US, but we couldn't stay there because our wait time there was up to 6 hours, and we couldn't stay that long without a transit visa. I don't ask him, can we get the transit visa at the airport here? He said, no, we have to travel to Lagos. I start applying for transit visa. It will take weeks. I'm like, what is this man saying? I don't have weeks. He now just dismissed us and said that there's nothing he can do. He's sorry. And left us to our own fate. That we should go to their office, Lufthansa office in Port Harcourt Town, GRA, and see if they can find us another place. But that's from his side, from what he's seen at the airport, that there's no space anywhere anytime soon. Hey. And I'm like, joke of the century. As in the way I'm talking now, you see, God, relocation is not easy. If you're relocating, don't feel frustrated, because you're going to face the hurdles, you're going to pass them. So take it easy. Don't ruin relationships because of those hurdles. Don't lose your personality or your cool because of those hurdles. They will come and they will go. After all, it's not here that I am now. So how to break the news to my children was the next big challenge. I said, how will I go and tell my children? My children got obsessed with planes because of this our trip. There is no plane in the world that they don't know the diameter, how it was built, who built it, how many kilometers. There's nothing they don't know. Mom, once my third son wakes up in the morning, even to greet me, he's here looking at me. The first thing, Mommy, Boeing 600, Boeing 700, Airbus 380. My mother-in-law and mother were frustrated. This boy has used plane to kill us in this house. They will watch YouTube from morning till night. They were counting down the weeks, counting down the days, counting down the hours. How do we go back now and tell them that we're going back home, that we're not traveling? I and my husband were so heartbroken. We told them, hey, see, my first son started crying. I had to tell him, Chenemrem, you need to brace up. It's not easy on mommy, it's not easy on daddy. If you start crying, everybody needs to be strong for everybody. Don't cry. We're still going to travel, but not just today. I had to ginger them, My dear, the truck that we rented that brought us to the airport, how much, all the expenses, the truck had already gone. We came with a truck. We also came with an Uber. All of them had all gone. We had to start ordering for another truck to come and take all our 20 baggages. We had almost 20 bags plus the stroller. All our bags were returned to us with sellotape that we should start going home, without any single hope of knowing when we are going to travel. And we didn't have any other way to survive. Our house was about to be taken over. No provision from Lufthansa, no cushion. We paid to reserve our seats. We paid a lot of money to reserve our seats because we didn't want them to throw father to 18A, throw me to 29B, throw Chidemerem to 7C. We wanted to sit down together. So we had to pay extra. In addition to the booking fee, we had to pay for seat reservation. All of that's gone, and Lufthansa didn't even, if they had value for their customers, my opinion, at least, even if so, lodge those people in the hotel and get them another flight at the airports. Not to just send them away with their bags and say, go to our office. That was completely wrong and out of line. Lufthansa? No. That is no way to treat a client that spent millions of naira booking a flight or thousands of dollars. That was very bad. They didn't have any care in the world how we're going to manage. They just returned all our bags to us and asked us to leave. So we got the Uber, took the children back home, dropped them at home, dropped all our bags back at home. Then my husband and I went to Lufthansa office at GRA. We got there. The staff there were not the most friendly. They were not the friendliest. We're there trying to get another space. And the same thing that the white man told us at the airport, that there's no seat available anytime soon. That they have searched the next 3 weeks. There's no available seats. We're like, what should we do? I don't understand. What should we do? Is it my fault? I paid for my flight months ahead. You guys have destabilized me, and you expect me to just go home and sit down and be waiting for your call indefinitely. I've quit my job. My children have left their school. All our clothes have been given out. God. guys. But as I always say, God always shows himself. So as we were there with the front desk staff, you know, trying to go back and forth, what do we do? What is all this? A young man, like a middle-aged man, just walked in. I think he works in the marketing department and of Lufthansa, and he just told us that we should follow him, we should come with him to his office. It just reminded me of when I was a banker. Sometimes when I see some customers having it very tough and rough with the customer service guys downstairs, when I come in, despite it's not my job to handle customer service issues, I was a marketer, I was a salesperson, I had my targets and my hands were full. But when I see such situations, I usually don't leave those customers there stranded, and you know, I always tell them, okay, come with me, I'll take them to my office and see, find a way, make calls, struggle. This life, any seed you sow, somehow you just reap it, really. So that's why sometimes it's just good to do good without even caring whether the person you are doing good to appreciate it or not. I feel like what happened that day was my good nemesis, like a repayment of what I have done for so many people in the past coming to work for me. That was what I used to do. So this man just saw us in a precarious situation and he told us that we should come with him. So went upstairs, we followed him to his office. This guy started searching for flights. Started searching. We spent a minimum of four hours or more. We spent a minimum of 4 hours or more at that man's office. He kept on searching. He searched and searched until he could search no more. At the time he gave up, he told us that there is nothing he can do, that we can go. He just wanted to dismiss us, that he has a meeting, he will keep trying. When he tries and gets, he will get back to us. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, go where? We go nowhere. Because I knew that if we had stood up from that place and left, voicemail, these guys wouldn't even mind leaving us in Nigeria for the next 3 months, hopeless and stranded. I was like, sir, please check. Check. I did my ears if I didn't hear that I should be going part. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't tell him. Remember, I was saying, I'm not going anywhere, my dear. With that, we pin here. So he kept on checking. At some point, he now saw. He said, oh. He now said, I can see from Vancouver to this to that. I said, God, what we're avoiding, the many stops, that is what we're going to suffer now. After paying so much more just to get one stop. But at that point, we didn't have any option. Now, apart from the multiple stops, he now said that he's not seen 6 seats or 5 seats. Naya didn't have a seat. That he's not seen 5 seats available on one plane. That he will have to throw us into different planes. My husband will go with 2 children here. Me, I'll go with 2 children there. One person will get to Frankfurt, wait for 8 hours for the other person to land. Then both of us will now wait for another 8 hours. Kuku Kimi. I was like, please, can't we get one flight where all of us can go in? I was praying. We were there. In fact, he was an angel. God just sent him to rescue us. Because if we were still downstairs with the customer service guys, there were so many other people waiting for them. There was no way they would have suspended work just to attend to us for 4-5 hours while people were waiting. We would have had no other choice but to get up and leave for them to attend to others. But because we're with this guy upstairs, he didn't have a queue. He's a marketer. He's a salesperson. Nobody was in the office looking for him. So he had our time. He took time. He called their general manager in Lagos. Called, can we put them? Can we make exceptional approval? Can we put them on this flight? He was making moves, making efforts, doing everything that he could just to get us fixed. At a point, I told my husband, should we split ourselves? I will go with Chineye and Chinemere. Go with the other 2 boys. When we get here, I'll wait for you for 8 hours. You join me. We'll split. We'll do. God. The thought of it alone, made us weak. I kept on urging the guy. I was like, please, just try. Guys, to cut the long story short, lo and behold, this guy found a flight, eventually, that could take all 6 of us at once. It was a miracle from nowhere. It was as though certain family just cancelled their flights or something. The availability just popped up. He said, yes. He quickly booked everything. Yes. Like, God, I was watching him. Go on. Book. He was, yes, reserving all of them so nobody would take them. So what he eventually got was a flight that would go from Port Harcourt to Abuja, to Frankfurt, to Toronto, then to Calgary. and that flight was slated to take off in almost 2 weeks from that day. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Well, half bread is better than puff puff, right? Half bread is better than chin chin. So we had no other option but to go with it. We had no other option. Both the money we had paid for reserving the seats, the money we had paid just to get shorter stops, everything down the drain. We still had to take the multiple stops. Our eyes saw something. So that was how we managed to secure that one, and we went back home to face the long wait. And in fact, that wait, it was so torturous. Like, we're like, what if we go there again and these guys come up with another story that they can fly? All the people that we had decluttered all our stuff to, they were calling because we had already told them to come pick up that day. In fact, God have mercy, we already told them to come pick up that Saturday. The initial Saturday we were supposed to leave. But when they called us that the flight has been moved, we now told them to come and pick up the next day. We didn't even know how to put our mouths to start telling them that, oh, it's no longer the next day. They should come and pick up in 2 weeks. Some of them got very impatient. Many of them understood. We had to start doing damage control. The person that was supposed to come and take the bed was already on her way. We had to say, please don't come, oh. We are back home, oh. Else you want us to sleep on the floor. We are back home. We didn't travel again. Oh, there was an issue. Some demanded for a refund. We refunded them. It was just a mess. We had to go back home and started bringing out all the food one after the other and start putting it back in the freezer. Thank God the freezer was still available, because someone else had already bought it. We had to start putting everything back. We now started counting down to the new day, the Airbnb that we had already paid for. In fact, the thing just distorted all our plans. All our plans were distorted, and that was what culminated, that was what snowballed into the house issue that we had trying to find the house, because the 3 weeks Airbnb that we booked, we now had only 1 week to stay because 2 weeks was already wasted in Nigeria. Can imagine. Even the Airbnb hosts lost money because we had to try to cancel reservation for some days. She lost money, and despite she lost a lot of money, this lady still went to prepare jollof rice, food for me, stocked the freezer, and made me happy. There are some people that are very exceptional, and I do not hesitate to acknowledge such people. Despite the disappointment, we had to call her that we have to cancel some parts of the Airbnb because we are not coming again. She had to lose all that money because, it was already booked by us. Other people couldn't book it. So maybe she had to open the rest of the days. We don't know whether she got customers within such a short time, but she lost money and she still prepared for us and welcomed us the way she did. So that's an exceptional human being. So we got home, trying to manage the few things we had available, put back food in the freezer. God. At the point, my husband wanted me to just forget the food. I said, I cannot forget my food. Some advice that men give you. But he was the one enjoying the food when we got here. So advice, you have to use your own sense because you're the one that will suffer. You're the one that will cook when you come. So when he was telling me, men think of immediate solution. Is this food a problem? Take it out. Women think long term. When I get to Canada, who will be suffering and be thinking of food? Is it you or is it him? Thank you very much, uncle. I will manage my food. I brought out my food, put it back in the freezer. After 2 weeks, we had to start rescaling and loading the food again. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Relocation is not easy. When you hear relocation, it's not just the act of packing your bag and moving. There's so many other little things in between, so many setbacks, so many disappointments and all of that will definitely come. But just be prepared and have a tough and positive mind. That's how I build myself, tough and positive mind, that cannot easily be deterred or broken. So we weathered the storm. We just kept hoping that there won't be any further delays because then we'll now be officially screwed because the house will have to leave the house and go and look for where we will squat. So thankfully, after that period, we went back to the airport. Our hearts were pounding. Boom, 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 boom. Say, God, our village people have caught us. Village people have caught us. Imagine after getting everything done, packing, going, we now get sent back home. The disappointment was too much for any of us to tolerate, to bear. My children were devastated. So after that wait, we went to the airport, and when they gave us our boarding pass, I hugged my husband. The children hugged me. We were so happy. Once we crossed this thing and entered the lobby where you wait for your flight, we're like, finally. So this is happening. So that was how that went. And there was something that it did. You know, when I say every disappointment is a blessing, there was something that shock, that experience, that disappointment did to us. It made us understand how much we wanted that blessing. Because the first time, when we got closer to going, we started developing, God, not cold feet, but I'll miss my this, I'll do this, I'll do that. But when we got that disappointment, it seemed like it was a wake-up call. It sent shock to us to understand that this thing that you're doing, you really want it, you really want it. If it's cancelled, that's when you will know. So it really made us understand that what we were doing was not a mistake. It was a blessing. It was something we're looking forward to. Instead of that crying, we're looking forward to it, praying. We just started praying heavily. Me and my husband, prayer. We just started, understanding how much of a blessing was about to come. And yes, we still see it as a blessing. And it will forever be a blessing for me and my family. I don't know about any other person. I can't speak for any other person. But for me and my family, it would be a blessing. All right. So that is my story. What is yours? If you've traveled, if you've had any experiences with any airline, you can share in the comment section. I know mistakes do happen. In fact, Lufthansa said that it wasn't their fault. That was the Nigerian government that chose to seal off the runway very impromptuly for maintenance, and they had to move the flights. Yes, I understand, but the way the crisis situation is managed is what really got me, pissed off. It wasn't managed well. There was no care in the world for our comfort or our well-being or anything that had to do about us. There was none. So that is my experience with Lufthansa. If you have any other experiences to share about any airline you have boarded, both pre-boarding, in transit and post, let us know in the comment section. Okay, thank you so much guys for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments and feelings down in the comment section, and stay glued because we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl Barrister Neza Peperempe, International Peperempe. And this is Nezaville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye.